I'm happy that the regular season is ending this week, though.
I just want to be able to beat the Celtics or the Cavs. That's
Oh,
all
yeah.
I'm.
Listen. We could beat the Celtics, boy. Boy, I'll be talking shit all over Twitter if we beat the Celtics. I just don't want to go out sorry. Like I just want to compete. I'm like I just don't want to just make the second round and just be all right. We get kicked out by the Celtics. Like I want to compete. We're able to
Mhm.
win, man. Like that would be everything, you know, amongst other shit. But ladies and gentlemen, it's Sunday. You already know what time that is. We started on Color People time. This is episode 173 of the BrawlCast. We'll be talking multi matches at Mania, KO's injury, Charlotte and Tiffany's recent situation on SmackDown, and then some. As a broadcast, we are about to start in 30. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys in about, let's say, 30 seconds.
We're brothers, we're happy and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five.
All right, cut and print. Beautiful, guys. Dynamite. That is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 173 of the BrawlCast. I'm your host, the People's Champion, and joining me once again today is the fantasy booking extraordinaire of the Brawl, one of our producers here, Kid Dynamite, aka this week he is Buster McThunderstick, as that will be his tagline for today. Hopefully, we'll be getting a chance to get the Diamond Cutter, aka Big E, joining the show later on this broadcast. Today, we're currently live on Twitter, we're live on Facebook, and we're live on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube page, hit a like, comment, join the conversation, as we will definitely be getting into some topics today here on the broadcast. But like we start every show here on the broadcast, we start this show with a vibe check. So Kid Dynamite, man, how you feeling, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. What do you call it? Weekend's been dope already. Yesterday was awesome. I got to chill with you guys at the house, the fam. We got to watch Yu Yu Hakusho and the Spectacular Spider-Man after last week when I said I was starting it. We watched a little bit of it yesterday. It was good to reconnect. Much needed hangout. And as we get older, it's a little bit harder to have these things because of conflicting schedules. But that was a much needed Saturday.
Yeah, we definitely needed it, man. And I'm glad you got a chance to hop on and have a good time. And what's good, Kyle? What's good? What's good? Shout out to Kyle, man. He's been streaming on TikTok as of late, in terms of his gaming and stuff like that. So please, shout out to Mr. K Marvel. Please follow him on TikTok. He does stream, as well as shout out to Mikey of the Shop Business. We call him Johnny, as he has his Twitch stream at Heel Classic. He be streaming a lot of different games. He streams Fortnite. He also streams a multitude of different games as well. So shout out to him. He was also streaming Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero, that game as well, as well as my boy Stan from Talking Champion. So shouts to you guys, streaming out there, man. Hopefully, I get my schedule down to a good point where I'm able to stream in games, myself. But right now, we got responsibilities out here, and we got to, get to the nitty gritty and make some money out here in these streets. But with that said, man, let's get started with the show with our icebreaker question to kick off the show. This past Friday on SmackDown, it is reported that Kevin Owens was not going to attend WrestleMania, be a part of this year's WrestleMania because of an injury. He came out on Friday and disclosed the fact that he has to get surgery for his neck. Just 2 weeks before Mania, he was slated to face off against Randy Orton. And unfortunately, that match won't happen because Kevin has been wrestling hurt for quite some time now, and this is about the time for him to kind of um get surgery and repair, get himself healthy again. Um, what's been your thoughts on this, Todd, man? Because a lot's been said about this will work or shoot this and the third, but in terms of seeing how Kevin looked on Friday, you can tell he was upset the fact that he's missing his first WrestleMania, I believe, since he joined the company. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, at first I didn't know what to think of the news because when they said he was, injured for 4 months, I was like, wait, Randy Orton's been out for 4 months, selling a kayfabe neck injury. So like when I heard the information, I kind of heard it in reverse, and I was just like, oh well, that sounds kind of suspicious. But I mean, to work hurt for 4 months with a neck injury that's just building and building and building, and now it's at a point where it's very serious. I mean, it's heartbreaking. I don't want to see the guy miss out on WrestleMania. Granted, I wasn't looking forward to this match, not because of the talent, but more so because of, I mean, it's been no secret. We haven't been fans of how Kevin's been booked for most of this run on SmackDown this past year. But it's a shame that it's happening this way. And I don't want to see the man go down like that. But even beyond just the show of the shows and all that or future events, I just want this guy's taken a lot of nasty bumps over his career. And you'd want to see him live a normal life afterwards and be healthier after he gets out of the business, especially in the wake of the Dark Side of the Ring episode of Mick Foley, where you just see how much damage he did to himself just in the Hell in a Cell match alone, let alone all the other bumps he took in his career at that point. So for Kevin Owens, you just want the best for the guy. There's nothing really else I can say about it other than it sucks, but it's better that he takes this time, gets his stuff together, and does what he needs to do for his family more so than for us.
Yeah, man, I just felt bad because it's like for someone who's done a lot, for the company for the last 11 years now since he's been part of the WWE. Like, no matter what his role or no matter what he's doing, somehow, some way he finds his way onto WrestleMania and making it, special for him, whether it's his match against Jericho or the match against Seth or, even when him and Sammy won the tag team titles at 39 in LA in that big of a crowd. Like, Kevin has always been game to be one of those guys you can put on a WrestleMania card and he's going to show out. Even if he may not be part of, the best match or whatever, you enjoy anytime he's on a WrestleMania card because he always brings something to the table. And definitely, like, just make sure that the fans go home leaving with something, and it kind of sucks, man. For me, I do wish Kevin Owens, nothing but the best in terms of his recovery, healing, and hopefully this is not the last time. And as a wrestling fan, just take the time that you need. Like, you've done enough in this business for over 20 plus years. You've won world championships in ROH. You've won the NXT title. You've been a United States champion. You've won tag team titles. You've done everything from PWG to ROH to Japan to all across the world. You've done enough to where, like, people respect you for your craft. The best thing that for any fan would hope for you to do is just to heal up. Anybody that asks, oh, could he still do Mania? Like, that's just selfish. Allow him to kind of heal, allow him to have this surgery, have this time to be with his family. And, I guess in this time, it's a blessing in disguise because he gets a chance to be more with his family, have more time with his family and just, relax for a bit, so when he does come back, hopefully, Randy Orton is still, active or not on a hiatus where, they can pick the story back up. Going to the next second question for our icebreaker. Sticking with SmackDown. Tiffany, Stratton, and Charlotte. It appears they might have been shooting on Friday, as they were obviously, selling or hyping up their matchup at WrestleMania for the WWE Women's Championship. What was your take on that when you seen those two go at it, and how did that make you feel? And yeah, basically, how did that make you feel, Ty?
I mean, the word is oof for me, because honestly, I don't really care for their interactions that much, but when I do listen to them, it just sounds like it sounds awkward. Um, whether it's a work or a shoot, I don't really care because at the end of the day, if the elements draw interest and create like genuine interest in seeing the matchup, you can look at them as positives as long as they're honorable, I guess. But in this situation, it was very much like we've seen it in the past with Charlotte promos where it's like Charlotte has to get the last word or Charlotte has to look strong and I don't know if that's something that she imposes upon the situation. I don't know if that's what they want the direction of the promo to be. I don't know why it always goes in that direction or it typically goes in that direction, but it's tough to watch it in this situation because Tiffany to me is not a strong mic worker.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion. Like I think she can pull off her character decently, but her character isn't like complicated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can do very simplistic things and fit the requirements for that character on the microphone. But the thing with Tiffany is that she doesn't seem comfortable in confrontative promos to me. Like when she's with somebody like that, or I'm not gonna say that she struggles all the time, but like she's still learning this stuff. Like she's not like at her best yet. She's not at her most comfortable yet. She's still growing as a wrestler and as an overall personality. So there are going to be times where she stumbles or she's not going to be as prepared, and I can see that, and I'm not going to hold it against her. But when you're going up against someone who, in this case, is probably the worst case scenario for her in terms of confrontative promos, right? Like this is kind of to be expected. I think what Tiffany ended up doing towards the end was like getting revenge for last week and getting revenge, I guess, symbolically for people who kind of go through this with Charlotte. All I know is that the interest I have for this match is not necessarily out of the dream scenario of these two wrestling as it once was. My interest in this match now really comes down to how rough is this going to be? Like how messy is this? It's more of a drama situation than a theater drama situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of can attest to that. Because I just felt, I felt like the way they've been building this feud has been flat, mostly because of the fact that I feel like no matter how talented Tiffany is at that juncture, yes, she was ready for the main roster, but I didn't think she was necessarily ready for being held responsible of leading that division as a champion. And then for Charlotte to come back and that's the first person you give her as a major test. I mean, it's rough because it's like you're going against someone who, the moment she shows up, you already know like that, that gold you got around your shoulder or around your waist, it's not going to be around long. So it's how do you navigate through that and how do you kind of salvage that while still coming out looking at least strong in the end. And for Tiffany right now, it's tough. It's tough.
Honestly, I feel like I don't really know how to put it because I think Tiffany is better when she has the ability to tap into her attitude. Like
Yes.
she's better when you could say as a heel, yes, because then she gets to go full on attitude without restriction. But just with some attitude, she'd do a lot better. And I don't know if she's been like she's tried to go back and forth with Charlotte. I honestly, the match on paper sounds great. The feud itself can work, but it just looks like the only way I feel like you can salvage this is if in the next 2 weeks we have confrontations with these two where Tiffany essentially says that Charlotte is having a crisis. Like Charlotte's having like a midlife crisis or like she needs to prove herself situation because she feels like she's going to be forgotten. And that's why she's been acting up the way that she has. That's the only way I feel like you can kind of salvage what's happened so far. Because honestly, if they keep going at it the way that they're going at it right now, it's just going to remind me of that time where Nia and Charlotte were throwing bombs on Raw in the ring with each other. That's where it feels like it would end up going otherwise.
They were shooting for real. They were
That
shooting
was
for real.
that was interesting, to say the least.
I'll say this to kind of close. I will say, in Tiffany's defense, she had to do something in order to kind of like salvage it. The way, in terms of like what was said, to kind of trigger like this crazy response from like, you know, the fans, including us, as we're talking about it now, like 48 hours later. It's crazy because like we kind of like harping on that last week when we were talking about like, you know, how the build has been to Mania and how, you know, we, you know, could find better alternatives and solutions to kind of like flesh out the story. And to see it in real time, how that happened on Friday, I was like, I hope they get that back on the train because we got 2 weeks left going into this week. So going into this week, you got this week and next week, and then, you know, Mania's, you know, the 19th and the 20th. So like,
yeah, I mean, you got to remember, we don't know how this Mania is going to turn out. I mean, the build has been lackluster, but so is the build of 31.
Yeah.
And 31, a lot of people hold that in a high regard. So this could very much be the Mania makes up for it type of situation. And let's hope so, I guess.
Yeah.
Hello, E.
What's going on, guys?
Hello.
So we're talking about Charlotte. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Would you like to show the people your face?
Well, I have a brand new setup, and it's not set up. So I'm sitting on the floor right now, so I kind of look kind of crazy.
So basically we're just gonna see Cena.
No, it shouldn't be too bad. No,
hey, welcome back, my brother, man. It's been a minute, man. How you feeling, brother?
Well, first off, Friday night SmackDown, Chicago, Illinois, 2 weeks away from WrestleMania.
Here we go.
Charlotte, you get in the ring and you tell Tiffany that Kaiser's in her DMs. Now, I'm sitting back looking at this like,
here we go.
Are these women shooting or are they working? Like, what are they doing? Nah, so I guess I'm about to say the same things that Tyler probably said.
I like the color of your hat.
Oh, thank you. We're not starting that, as the Yankees are currently tied 4-4 at the bottom of the 10th.
It kind of reminds me of my mask, you know.
Well, hold on, we're still playing Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, this the rubber match, and bottom of the 10th, we just tied the game, but they got 2 on. But anyway, that's a different podcast. Check that out later.
Yes, sir.
Just plugging everything.
I feel like plugging everything. I feel like
Pause. What?
Hey, no.
What?
Women like plugs too.
But, what? Wait.
Yeah.
All right, this how we start.
Charlotte.
This how we start.
Can we call a timeout?
He's like, timeout.
Somebody blow the whistle, please. Call a timeout.
To kind of piggyback and get off of where we were at. Charlotte is going through something, and you can see it on TV. I do not like the direction of her character right now. I think somebody said it best. Charlotte's problem is she cannot reinvent herself. Her whole character is the daughter of Ric Flair and being Ric Flair's daughter. That's her character. That's what sells. That's all she's ever going to be. Me being a critical Charlotte fan, me being somebody who wants to see Charlotte thrive, she's not going to thrive. And I've even said it, a couple of episodes back. I don't want Charlotte to win this at this Mania. I don't think she should win. I don't think she should take that title off of Tiffany. Now, has the Tiffany experiment been a success? I honestly, we can't judge it because her whole program has either been a rematch with Nia Jax, one great showing with Bayley. I'm not even going to lie about that. She had a great title defense against Bayley on SmackDown, and then this whole program with Charlotte. So, can you really judge Tiffany's championship run if you haven't really given her too much to flesh out? And then you gave her a tag match at Backlash with Trish Stratus against Nia Jax. Why couldn't you have that spot to build more for the Charlotte story? To where we're getting pretty much Mean Girls 2. Where it's just Spider-Man meme. We're both pointing at each other, looking at each other, taking low blow shots. And when I came in, Tyler was saying it's kind of reminiscent of Nia Jax and Charlotte taking shots at each other. And I agree. If we're supposed to be in this new era where wrestling makes sense and things make sense, let's do something that makes sense to the story. You know, the via satellite thing was cool because I also feel like Charlotte should do this type of character where I don't need to show up. You need to come to me. I don't need to come to you. I'm the prize.
Oh, no.
You have something I want, but I'm the prize. That's how it should be played out. Tiffany should go on this whole thing of where she was in the beginning, where it looked like it was going in the beginning, where it was this whole thing of pick me, Charlotte. Pick me to be your opponent at WrestleMania. Let Charlotte keep building up towards that. Let Charlotte be like, okay, I do pick you, but you know what? You're not on my level, so why am I going to even entertain you? I'm not.
They should have kept the Charlotte Jr. storyline.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They should have kept it something sort of like that. I'm not saying don't have Charlotte announce, you know, maybe, which would, honestly, if the story done right, I'm not mad at it. If Charlotte would have just now announced, okay, Tiffany, I'm choosing you to be my host, that would have been okay because it still would have played off of you're not on my level.
Procrastinator.
Right, but it's if you're going to be the spoiled, entitled person, lean into it. Because what you're doing now, it comes off, like you said, it comes off whiny. It comes off almost as if, you know, there's no interest for me with this. It's not keeping my interest. It's not holding anything to me. And that's the first time I can honestly truly say that about a Charlotte program for me. It's not holding my interest. It's not
the first time that's happened for you?
This is growth.
Are you serious?
Hey, Ty, let him go. This is growth. Let him go.
Bro, what?
I'm so serious.
That's the problem. What do you mean you're serious? This is the first time a Charlotte angle has.
You let him go.
Does not interest me.
Let him go.
I'm not interested. I am not interested in seeing Charlotte and Tiffany at Mania. If
I'm gonna throw up.
Like they could have honestly kept this for like a throwaway. They could have did this at another pay-per-view. To me, it doesn't scream WrestleMania. The match that everybody wanted to see was Charlotte and either Jade or Bianca.
Mm-hmm.
That was the WrestleMania match. But we know why we didn't get that last year because Charlotte was hurt.
I mean, it never was for me. I thought
it is for me. I think for me, Jade and Charlotte is approving for me because they almost mirror each other. They almost mirror each other. Almost mirror each other.
And I get the reason for the match. It's just I think we would have gotten a better match with Tiffany Like for me, this was kind of the dream match because if you kept it the Charlotte Jr. storyline with the added elements you said of like you're not on my level, I'm not going to even get in the ring with you. You need to come find me. You know, I'm going to make you pick me, even though I'm the Rumble winner. Like like all of that. That's what I wanted because you do two things. One, you give Charlotte a chance to expand upon her previous character, to your point. Like you actually get her to do something a little bit different, but not too different, to where you could feel it's an evolution of the character. And then Tiffany can also break out and finally address all the rumors and all the rumblings that have been around for years of just she's going to be the next Charlotte, or that's all she could be, or that's all she ever will be is the next Charlotte. You're just here to take her spot and actually give her her own identity. Because look, I'm going to be honest with you. I can only deal with Tiffy time for so long. There's got to be more substance and growth to her character than just the catchphrase that people know or the intro to her song. You know
I agree.
what I mean?
I agree, and I think that's more so my gripe with this, because you have an opportunity to build the character more. You have an opportunity to make Tiffany a little more relatable. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think this storyline is relatable whatsoever. It's more so, and it's not. I don't know, man. They both wrong.
What?
It should have just got that ticket and go to work or whatever. He gone that what? I
Are you Latin
Jeff Jarrett's finisher. That's what I just had right there.
Are you Latin King?
I want to understand what, like, I get. No, I don't. I try.
I don't either. But
I know you mean well.
Where's GC when you need him?
I don't even know what's going on.
No, don't wake him up.
What's good, JT? How you doing, brother?
So my all in all, so we can move on.
What's good, Ray?
All in all, so we can move on. This is probably the weakest out of all the builds for WrestleMania, as far as all the programs. This is probably the weakest one. I'm not interested. Do I think Charlotte and Tiffany, in-ring wise, will perform well? I think so. Tiffany has to do better with that moonsault spot, because for the a couple of weeks back, she's had some near misses that could have been some very fatal.
Very Charlotte-esque, huh?
Yeah. I mean, Charlotte perfected it. So
no,
yes,
don't do
yes,
this.
She has. Yes, she has.
I've watched as many Charlotte matches as you, if not more. She is hit or miss with that moonsault. I saw her do a moonsault one time.
So the corkscrew, she's perfected that corkscrew.
She's been decent with the corkscrew, yes. If she does a standard backflip.
Standard backflip, I agree. No,
I was about to say, you're not going to do this to me today. I've watched her do a moonsault where she landed on her feet and then fell forward. That, like, don't do this to me. And to a person on the ground, like laying out on their back, by the way. So you're not going to do this to me.
Well, all in all, they need to, with 2 weeks left, they need to make this program look. Right now, this is looking like a piss break, a 20-minute piss break.
All right. Well, I guess we should switch gears.
Yeah.
Hey, man, Eric being honest. Listen, man.
I'm being honest.
What a way to come back, man. This show was growth, brother. All right, man. The main topic of the episode, we're talking about multi-matches at WrestleMania. Obviously, this is a topic that myself, Kid Ty, was talking about over the last couple of weeks. We alluded to this being one of the main topics going into this week's episode. Kid Ty, would you want to preface the people, the conversation before we dive into it?
So, especially in recent years, we've seen a lot of demand for 1v1s at Mania, and I feel that. But it did bring up a big question in the wake of the women's championship situation on Raw, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, of course. Should we have all these intertwining storylines be put into triple threats? Should some of these be 1v1s? How many multi-person matches do we need at WrestleMania? And I mean, Mania is chock full of them. I mean, between tag matches, triple threats, multi-person ladder matches, battle royals, and all that. I mean, there's been a multitude of these at Mania to where it's not anything foreign. But the question we asked today are, what are some of the best Mania matches that have been multi-person? What are some of the best? What are some of the worst? What are the pros and cons of these, and how should they be done going forward? Because we can't change the past, no matter how much we want to, but we can try to make the best of future events with more productive thinking, right? So that's what we're gonna do. So I guess we should just start off with like some of our fonder memories of multi-person matches at WrestleMania. Eric, since you have been gone for 3 years, I want to ask your opinion because you've lived longer than me. You've seen more Manias live than me. You know, we're going to get to WrestleMania 2000. Okay. We're going to do that. I know everybody wants to talk about Mania 2000 with this top. We're going to get there. But in terms of multi-person matches, let's start with, multi-person matches where you have to fight everyone in the ring as a solo wrestler. So like triple threats, fatal four-ways, 6-person matches. Let's start with triple threats, actually. What are some of your favorite triple threats in WrestleMania history?
Let's start with the most underrated one that doesn't get talked about.
Is it the one that doesn't get talked about because of the person in the match?
No.
Oh, okay, because that's my match.
All right, we're adults here. We can.
Yeah, we're. I'm going. So for me, the most underrated one that doesn't get talked about enough for my liking is that Mania sucked too, but the Mania in New Orleans, the second time they went to New Orleans, that opened the show. Rollins, Miz, and Finn Balor doesn't get talked about enough.
Or the Intercontinental Championship.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember. That
does not get talked about enough.
That watch party was fun, especially around that first match, man. What's
going
on, Jonathan Watson? What's going on, Jonathan? What's going on?
That wasn't Win Balor. That wasn't Pin Balor. No. That was for my twin Balor. That was Pride Balor. I remember that.
Yeah. I remember that. That's a triple threat at Mania that doesn't get talked about enough. And at the time where I'm not going to say the IC title was kind of dormant, but it desperately needed a facelift in the division.
Yeah, they put numbers, man. Like that match did numbers, man. Like especially that first match that night. Like it set the tone.
The show.
It set the tone.
Open the show that would be I'm sorry, Tyler, but a shit show with Asuka losing to Charlotte.
Damn, you ain't gotta remind us that.
The Brock.
So you're telling me that was a creative decision you were interested in?
I was interested. I was interested in that more than I was interested in.
Come there hot.
Yeah,
that's fine. I'll take that.
We'll get to those one day. We'll get to that match one day. I have a soliloquy for that.
To be honest with you, I'm not. I know we talk about. You brought up the Fatal 4-Way at Mania 2000.
Wait, hold on. Before we get to the 4-ways, let's keep to the triple threats because we have a whole thing we could talk about with Mania 2000.
Oh, I was gonna say I was not interested in that, but go ahead.
I guess another one. I mean, that was a very good one for the Intercontinental title. If we're staying on the topic of the Intercontinental Championship, I have one. The Eurocontinental triple threat. From I believe it was Mania 2000 between Jericho, Kurt Angle, and Chris Benoit for the Intercontinental and European Championships.
That was an underrated one.
Canada was happy that day. I'll tell you what. Everybody but Kurt left with some gold.
So somewhere Lance Storm was kicking himself because he couldn't get that title and make it to a Canadian title.
That is true. Randy, do you have an underrated triple threat or like a favorite triple threat that you want to talk about before we get to the big ones, I guess?
Damn, but then again, that would be the big one. Nah, I'll save it for the bigger triple threat matches that happen.
All right, I'll give another one then, I guess. Triple H, Randy Orton, and John Cena for Mania 24.
That one slipped my mind. That was underrated. That was an underrated one.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad triple threat. It wasn't like an over the top triple threat.
Talk about yo, Vaughn. Don't start shit, Vaughn.
But yeah, I mean, those are some of the triple threats that came to our mind. I mean, they're obvious ones. The remainder of Roman and Brock when Seth did the heist of the century, that does count.
That was a fun one. That was
if you want to do Edge, Big Show, Cena.
I mean, I remember that match for one moment.
Yeah, I'll skip that match. Fuck that.
That wasn't.
Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha.
That entire Mania was Undertaker.
Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha.
Was that the one in Dallas? Did that 32 in Dallas?
That's the only women's triple threat I ever want to acknowledge, to be quite honest with you, because the other one was shit.
Yeah, it was.
They put the one with Ronda and Becky and Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that one.
You were okay with that booking decision? That was interesting to you?
Yes.
Why?
We'll talk about that on a different time.
All right.
Let me see.
Should have been Cena.
I
agree.
That is true.
Even let me see. What was the one where Bailey had a fatal 4-way?
That was Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi, I believe.
Yeah, it was that.
No, Naomi went after the SmackDown Women's title because they were.
Oh wait.
Oh, you mean the one in Orlando when she went? What wasn't the one that had at the time?
Charlotte was in that one.
Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. That was the one where didn't Charlotte and Bailey have some sort of match before that, like a few weeks before that or something like that?
Yeah,
they did.
And Bailey won the title.
Like a real vet.
Interesting.
This
one defended in the fatal 4-way.
I got Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and Batista from Mania 30.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
And then of course I got the one 10 years prior. I got the one with Benoit Trips and HBK at the Garden.
I'm about to say, what the fuck is Undertaker doing in that match?
That's when Undertaker came back. That's when Undertaker came back.
And also Randy Ray Kurt.
Fuck you!
That
was a good one.
I feel bad for Kurt on that night. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel bad for Kurt Angle on that night, man. Because WrestleMania 22 really was the should have like the what could have happened Mania for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we could have had whatchamacallit, Eddie versus HBK for the World Heavyweight title.
We could have had the No Way Out match with Taker and Kurt at Mania potentially.
We could have also had Cena and Batista earlier. Had Batista didn't get hurt.
So there's a few of them that's out there that's not.
We can save those. We can save those conversations for next week.
They need to have. In my honest opinion, I don't see the problem with multi-man matches or multi-woman matches.
Okay.
At Mania,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it has to serve with the story. Does the story make sense?
I mean, that's the general. That's the general thing, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. So taking generality out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pose this question because we've talked about this ad nauseum on the show in terms of certain multi-matches that could help revive the interest of Mania. Do you think now, because of the fact that it is now 2 nights and the fact that not everybody can be on the card that has a story, why not use that plot device to put the Money in the Bank back at WrestleMania?
Oh my God, we've mentioned this in so many different episodes where it's just like.
But I mean, like, if we're gonna do it, why not just go full Monty and just put at least one of those specialty matches there? Because we don't want to see no damn multi-man battle royal for the Andre the Giant, because no one's gonna care for that. So we at least got to put something that's at least gonna put asses in the seats. It's just a suggestion. I'm just not saying like it should happen, but what do we?
No, I agree. I think that they should have brought. Money in the Bank is one of the only gimmick pay-per-views that WWE introduced over a decade ago that actually was consistently quality for them. Like, there hasn't been a bad Money in the Bank pay-per-view, in my opinion, since they'd made it a pay-per-view. So they never felt the need to do Money in the Bank at WrestleMania again, which is, they could have 2 Money in the Banks a year, almost every year, and call it a day there, which it sucks because the 2 Money in the Bank format would work perfectly for WrestleMania this year because you'd have one on night 1 and another one on night 2, and it'd give you enough time to breathe and process everything. But as opposed to if you had 2 Money in the Banks in the same night, that'd be rough. Because it's more fresh in your mind between the 2 matches. So the spots in the second match might not live up to the first, and vice versa. You know what I mean? For me, I would love to see that because the Battle Royals, they never made us care about them. Like Bobby Lashley came out at WrestleMania from Hollywood Part 2 with the big trophy, and his only appearance on the show was just him bringing the trophy he won on Friday.
Yeah.
You know, like, and the ones that did happen at Mania, I mean, to be honest, outside of Cesaro throwing Big Show over the rope,
And mean shit.
like, can any of y'all really name the winners of those Andre the Giant or those women's battle royals off the top of your head?
Or how about this? If we don't use the money, because the Money in the Bank is one thing. Would you entertain an idea of having a championship scramble for one of the mid-card titles at Mania?
I like the championship scramble concept, but I feel like some people find the rules too complicated and it doesn't translate well in terms of reaction. So I don't know if they'd bring that back. I mean, outside of NXT's variant with the whole, deadline thing, but they use like a shark cage for theirs, right? Like that.
Oh yeah, the little the plastic thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yes.
I would try to look into. I would say don't get rid of the battle royals, but make them mean something.
Or if you do, let's say like you put a battle royal in the beginning of the match. Let's say like one of the mid card champions don't got a contender for that night at Mania. Use that. Okay, whoever wins this night, let's just say they have a battle royal as a pre-show. Whoever won that battle royal has a chance to face off against Intercontinental Champion or United States Champion. But of course, for this year's WrestleMania, obviously, Braun and LA Knight both have opponents. But if it wasn't,
Braun Breaker have an opponent?
I believe the way it's looking, he might be facing between Finn and Penta.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you,
he's not on the card yet.
Well, we're still formulating the card. That's another thing that we've been doing over the years. It's like, we'll find out the card the day before the full last card.
And that's the thing. It's like you again. This is what I wrote in my article this past week on the hit list, which we'll talk about it later on the show. But like, you should like for someone like Braun Breaker, like you're Jacob already got a beeline to the United States Championship at Mania, but yet you got Braun Breaker on Raw with the IC title, and you're still trying to scramble an idea. Surrounding the guys that surrounding that title. So I just think that something like the scramble could help. Something like if you could put a battle royal like during the pre-show would definitely help, because it'd be like, all right, you win the battle royal and you get Braun Breaker, later that night, on the main card, and then whomever might come out of that is on the third, you make a match out of it.
They've done that before, then just not at Mania. I remember years ago, this was back in 2012, when Christian returned from his injury after the Randy Orton feud. He came back as a babyface in a battle royal to determine a number one contender for the Intercontinental or the U.S. Championship. This was back when Santino was U.S. champion and Cody Rhodes was Intercontinental champion. And that's what ignited the Cody and Christian feud that I still think is a great series of matches.
It was underrated as fuck.
Yeah, what Christian means to the 2010s to me is something else. Yeah, I'll say that much. But what do you call it? They've done that before, and I wouldn't be against that at Mania. If you made the Andre the Giant Battle Royals, whether it be at the show, like in the pre-show, or in the week leading up to WrestleMania, let's say you had two battle royals, one on Raw and one on SmackDown for the men and the women or something like that, for like pre-WrestleMania week, it would be cool to see that. And then it leads to like, them getting the title shots, or even if you combine the ideas, right? Let's say you bring Money in the Bank back to WrestleMania, and Money in the Banks can have anywhere from 5 people to like 8 people, right? 5 to 8 or 10 people. Let's say they kept the number to about, let's say they kept the number to 7, and you found, and like each Mania, the 7th spot would be determined by the Battle Royal winner. So like you had the Battle Royal winner, like the last spot is missing. So you can have the Battle Royal have some intrigue, because everyone's like, okay, so who's going to be in the Battle Royal? Obviously, some of the losers from the qualifiers are going to be in the Battle Royal. Some of the people who never got a shot will be in the Battle Royal, right? So even if they tied it to a ranking thing, where like the qualifiers are determined by ranking, and then the Battle Royal is like a free lottery thing where everyone gets a shot, that's also a good place to introduce surprise entrants, like surprise stars in the Battle Royal, like an NXT talent or a new free agent signing, and you can have them jump in, and then they win the Battle Royal, and then they get a spot at Mania in the Money in the Bank.
Or even in this case, like, you know, because since now there's a partnership with TNA, like someone from TNA could pop up and let's say like for instance, if it's for the Intercontinental Championship and like a Trey Miguel wins and he shows up, or you know, and the crowd goes crazy, like oh my god, like you know, this and the third, like stuff like that would definitely do some numbers. Or if Mustafa Ali was like, fuck it, I'm just like y'all gonna make sure like y'all gonna know who I am, you know, on this Mania when I come to Mania.
I mean, again, I'm not against it. I'm not against Money in the Bank being at Mania. I'm not against Ty's idea. I think that's a very good idea. I just think that for me on my end, I think that you got to make these things make sense, and I think that's what. And it's not fair to the new regime that's in there now, but because this clearly was implemented 10 years ago, you know, 10 plus years ago. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle, it was nice. It was a good idea. It was a good tribute. Yeah, but it didn't mean anything.
It's up for that.
Yeah, it didn't mean anything. When they did the Mae Young Classic, that actually meant something. When they did, which was a whole separate thing, which ignited so much. Because think about how many things we got out of that Mae Young Classic. Look how many women stars that we now see that are working either in AEW, TNA, or WWE.
All came from that classic.
So and to be honest with you, I know this is kind of on topic but not on topic. I'd like to see that for the men's thing too, kind of like for the sports watchers out there. If you do like how soccer does the World Cup or baseball does, you know, the baseball classic, have people represent something from each country.
You're talking like what TNA did with the what do you call it, like the X Division Cup, the World X Cup thing?
Something sort of like that, yes, but let's widen it.
All right. Well, I got something for you. That Mae Young Classic idea just sparked another episode because I have something for that. I'll have something for that. Yeah, I will say we will write that down. But I will say in terms of the multi-person matches, I agree with Eric. There should be a purpose behind them because we've mentioned some of the ones that we adore, some of the ones that we think were pretty decent. But we've also had multi-person matches at Mania also not mean anything. Like if we're staying on the topic of multi-person ladder matches, I mean, they had 2 back-to-back ones at WrestleMania 31 and 32 that ultimately is like, why did we have this? Like Daniel Bryan wins the one at Mania 31, and that was cool to see Bryan win the Intercontinental title. But let's be honest, like if you're going to do that, you might as well bring back Money in the Bank where you can make an even bigger moment, right? Why is the Intercontinental title being defended in a multi-person ladder match? And then the next year, they had Zack Ryder win the 32 one. That was the one with like Kevin Owens and Sammy and Sin Cara bouncing off the rope after falling off the ladder and shit. And it's like...
And hurting himself.
And granted, yes, again, we could play the regime game. But if you fast forward to the current regime, last year's WrestleMania, we had the multi-person tag ladder match, which combined elements of the WrestleMania 31-32 thing with like the elements of like the classic, you know, Hardys, Dudleys, Edge and Christian situation, right? How much did that ladder match really impact us in the long run?
I'll tell you one that really didn't, only because I didn't like the result. The shock was great, but I didn't like the result. The Orlando Mania where the Hardy Boys came back.
I knew he was going there.
I just think they should have put both of those belts on Enzo and Cass because they were red hot during that time. That's just my personal opinion.
I do agree with that.
I didn't think the Hardys should have won, but they won. I understand. I get it. They were red hot as well. But I think that Enzo and Cass grinded out way more than the Hardys during that time. Not saying overall, because the Hardy Boys are legends. Yeah. But at that time, for that story purpose, Enzo and Cass should have won that ladder match. Because you had who? You had Enzo and Cass, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the Hardy Boys. I forgot who the fourth team was. Because there was a fourth team involved. It was like 4 or 5 teams. I
Well,
want to look it up while you guys talk. But
it was the bar.
yeah, the bar. There we go.
Yeah.
So
And granted, the Hardys in the bar was fun, but also
They were.
those could have been number one contenders matches for the championship,
right.
if you will. So it's not like it was dependent on the title necessarily.
So for me bringing that up, because we're talking about matches that don't mean anything. Does anybody even remember that Hardy run with those tag titles, with those Raw Tag Championships?
Damn, no.
I don't, I'm going to say I do, but I don't count because I consume this media way more than the average person or even the average podcaster.
It's still not a memorable run. It didn't hinder anyone but the people that didn't win. It hindered the bar. It hindered Gallows and Anderson. It definitely hindered Enzo and Cass. Because after that, they had a screeching halt after that.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, it slowly crashed and burned right after that.
Right, because then after that, they broke them up, and Cass went by himself, and Cass proved that he's not in a single star, and Enzo started having problems backstage and went to the Cruiserweight division and got ran out by Vegeta.
Yeah,
and I guess on the other topics of things, like if we go back to WrestleMania 2000, which is considered a notorious mania just because of how many multi-person matches were on the card. Like, yeah, you can talk about the Eurocontinental match, but like most people disapprove of the main event of WrestleMania 2000 in the sense that they believe it should have been Rock and Triple H. Like the inclusions of Mick Foley and Big Show, every McMahon has a wrestler. It felt like the McMahon version of cockfighting. Like everyone was betting on their horse to win. It's like, no, you know what I mean? Like you had the situation. I'm trying to remember outside of the tag match and the Eurocontinental title match in the main event. I mean, there were. What was it? The only singles match that was at that Mania was I'm forgetting off the top of my head.
I mean, you can't even say that.
But the fact that I can't even remember the singles match. Do you remember most of the matches on that card?
Barry Reynolds and the Cat.
That was probably the only one.
That was the only singles match. But like the fact that that's what you see what I'm saying.
Triple Threat Tag Team match was another match on that.
So I completely agree with Eric on that. I mean, we all do. We want better written reasons for matches, even if it's just, we're moving up in the rankings, or I want a title shot, or there should be more coherent reasons for this other than just putting the people. You don't want participation award matches at Mania, period.
Right.
No.
You want the matches to feel purposeful. So I agree with that, which leads us to the current set of multi-person matches.
So there's one I have a problem with this year.
All right.
Which one? Let's talk about it. Which one?
So the one I have a problem with is
Night one main event.
No, tag team. No, night one main event makes sense. We'll get to that. But the tag team match.
Okay.
So supposedly, we don't know what's going to happen just yet. Like Tyler said, the card is currently being filled out as we got 2 weeks left. Supposedly, it might just be the Street Profits, DIY, Pretty Deadly, pretty much the whole SmackDown tag division.
This is interesting because you can make an argument this is more of a coherent multi-person tag match than last year's.
It is.
And there's an actual story behind it, though.
Last year, which ironically, I wanted to give us both check pluses for this time. We both predicted that they would split the titles last year, and they did.
I didn't.
Yeah. Word to the thunder.
Just not in the way that we thought, not in the comedic way.
Yeah, no spiders.
No spiders, and R-Truth didn't come to Miz and say, "I got over my arachnophobia and I grabbed the title." You know.
You think R-Truth has a bias against Sam Raimi?
Yes,
possibly.
Stan Lee.
So but I mean, we got another good
Sony Pictures.
We got another good moment.
Insomniac.
out of that R-Truth.
Hey, no, Sonic ain't do nothing to nobody.
We got another good moment out of that R-Truth thing with Triple H, with him calling Triple H Tommaso Ciampa.
The idea of R-Truth not approving of Miles Morales would be actually hilarious because of the irony.
That would be fun.
I want to see a black man get paid, but I don't like spiders. So kind of cancels out, don't it? So it's one of those.
So for
R-Truth.
me, I mean, it is one of the most coherent ones. It does make sense because all teams are tied to each other.
Yep.
DIY is tied to Pretty Deadly. Motor City Machine Guns is tied to DIY and Street Profits. And then Street Profits is tied into everybody here because Street Profits never got their just due.
So where's your gripe?
I think my gripe with this is more so I really don't want to see another ladder match. Last year made sense for the ladder match to happen. I don't know if this year is going to be a ladder match. Don't quote me on that because, again, we don't know. I know who I don't want to see win this match, which is Motor City Machine Guns. I do not want to see them with the titles again. And I don't want to see DIY with titles either.
So let me ask you this. Do you want it to be more of a fatal four-way tag match?
I'd be okay with that. Because I think that gives each... I think what I'm looking for out of this is I want to see how different each team is. Like, I know how different they are, but I want to actually feel it through the TV. Like, the direction the Street Profits are going in now, I've seen the vignettes and everything that have been posted. Montez is looking more like a mob boss every day, every time I open up my phone. But they're not emulating that too much on TV. I want them to really emulate. Like, I want them to lean into that on TV. I want, Motor City Machine Guns, they need to... I'm not saying they need to change much about them just yet, but they need to show some type of gripe. Like, damn, like we got screwed by, a long time best friend. Now the Street Profits are after us. Now we got to watch our backs and all this type of stuff. We didn't think this was gonna happen when we came to WWE. So something sort of along the lines of that. I think so. More so for me, it's more character work that I want to see in the ring.
I get what you mean. You want this to be a payoff for all the storylines that we've gotten from. I mean, SmackDown's tag division has been solidly building.
Yeah, it's been
over the past couple months. So you want that payoff for it, just all the character moments and no, I get that. We don't need a ladder for that. I agree with that.
No, we don't need a ladder.
We don't need a ladder.
I feel like if it comes down to it, I feel like if it does become a ladder match, and I hope not, Pretty Deadly is going to win, and I don't want that for the Street Profits.
Yeah, I mean, I want it down the road because I do think Pretty Deadly would definitely be some good champions, but just not now. Like, I would have it down the road. Down the road.
Just can't say that KO and Miz are working. The marks are eating it. Let me take that. Well, Mr. Richard.
Oh God.
Nobody here has been talking about KO this whole entire time. So I don't know where that comment came from.
He's probably been listening since the beginning.
Yeah.
Or either that or it's because it's in the title.
Oh, okay, maybe you guys were talking about it before I got on.
I did make mention of the fact that I did think it was a work at first, just because 4 months for KO, 4 months for Orton, it felt too like I felt like something was being tipped off. But
I don't know if it's a work or not. I'm not here to legitimize somebody's injury or not.
Listen, if you hurt, man. You ain't gotta convince me.
Right. So and eating it up, pause. If that's what you into,
I wasn't even gonna what?
Yo, that you know what? Welcome back, E.
So there's that.
Welcome back, Grizz.
But all in all, I think that's probably that's basically where I'm at with that multi-man match. Let's get to the triple threat. Mm-hmm. Let's get to the ladies.
Yes. Okay, I got you. So the women.
Go ahead.
This storyline is I'm not gonna say it's all over the place, but it's definitely makeshift. Like
Oh yeah.
When you can consider where the women's division was before this, we were having questions as to what would be the appropriate women's match. A lot of people defaulted to Bianca and Rhea, and arguments could be made it could have happened this year. I made the argument that it should have happened 2 years ago. But you can't deny Io's had a great year, and a lot of people admittedly wanted to see Io in this spot at Mania, her second women's title match at WrestleMania. The questions of whether it should main event, considering the fact that the women haven't main evented in years at this point. Thank you, Bloodline. I guess not really. No, I'm crying. Jesus wept. Point being is that we're in a situation where the triple threat right now has 3 of the top women in WWE.
Oh, okay.
And that should justify it. But to Eric's point, it feels empty because not a lot is really building into this other than, special referee situations, the triple threat confrontation. It feels flat because there's not a lot behind all of them to work with this. Because Rhea lost steam because of the Liv Morgan situation.
Yeah.
Bianca is randomly kind of being inserted into this because of the Elimination Chamber. Io literally just got the belt. And for all intents and purposes, you could argue maybe she shouldn't have gotten the belt when she did.
I got a controversial take when you're finished. I think Randy would love the story that I have in my mind for this.
Oh, continue. Ty, continue, Ty. Or you
No, I'm gonna let Eric go. I was just setting up Eric.
Okay. Shit.
Okay, so everything you said completely right. I think, but for this particular story, I think it calls for it to be chaotic. It calls for it to be all over the place because just like you said, look at the shenanigans that's happened. Special guest referees, rematches, brawls, Io being forgotten. The main, if you're really, 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 really paying attention, the main focus of this story is Rhea Ripley and Bianca. I'm not saying that Io Sky is a non-factor or she's unforgettable, but that's where they're putting the focus on. They're putting the focus on Rhea and Bianca. And all of them have a gripe with each other. Well, not with each other, but all of them have a sort of subtlety about them. Bianca, we all know, is undefeated at WrestleMania. Rhea has never beaten Io Sky. Io Sky has beaten the both of them. So it's you know what I mean? It's a lot that goes into it. It's kind of similar to the other triple threat that we're going to get to.
Mm-hmm.
My only gripe with
Go ahead.
My bad. My only gripe is I don't mind that a triple threat like this is able to happen. I just wish that the circumstances prior to the triple threat were better.
Me too.
The Raw division being healthier, there being more contenders you could viably see. I've spoken about it ad nauseum. I don't like the fact that Rhea blitzed the women's division for about 2 years, and then Liv Morgan was hiding from most of the women's division for 2 years, to where this is all they could kind of scrape together. It feels scraped together when it shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Your name is Michelle Cox. I don't think you
Cox, you suck too.
I don't think you suck. I think you're the last person that should be commenting on anything. Right, God did you dirty. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Hold on. You don't like wrestling? You won't get this. I'll make everybody laugh here. You like big ones. You like small ones. I like black ones. You like white ones.
Wait, you like black
ones?
You'll even
do an Asian.
You said you for everything except when you said I like black ones. You false. What are you?
False. That was crazy. But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
You like white ones. Hell, you'll even do an Asian. You love Cox.
I'm
what, sir?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks. I didn't mean to be that rude. It's just why are you here?
Why are you here if wrestling sucks? And then you pick the most. I'm sorry, because we're getting off topic, but you pick the most easy word, and your last name is Cox. You picked sucks.
And it's not the cable.
Right. You could have said wrestling is bad. You could have said wrestling is for losers.
You could have said I don't get it, and we could have helped you.
Right.
You just
You could have said anything else. But your last name is Cox, and you said sucks. And you didn't think that we were going to say something to you?
God damn.
Yeah.
I'm sure the person got what they wanted out of that comment, but we should be blocking. We should be blocking these. No, let's.
Anyway. Yo, it's funny to me, man. I ignore shit like that, especially on.
Like no, it just. I'd like to see tall guys wrestle tall guys. So you watch wrestling.
Let's ignore it. No, Eric, it's a show. Let's go. I just couldn't help myself with the name. I'm sorry, but the triple threat,
let's keep pushing, bro. Let's keep pushing, man. You said we don't have to be rude. You want to say wrestling sucks, bro? Like, listen, you said wrestling sucks.
You on our show. We can do what we want. Get your own show. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do.
If you watch wrestling and you don't like the way it is, you should have just said, "I don't like the direction wrestling's going," and we would have been good. That's it. She could watch the NBA.
You know what? Let's get the show back on the train. The triple threat match.
So this is the story that I got for this, right?
All right, back
to Randy said this a couple of weeks back.
Yes, sir.
What story is Bianca still constantly being brought up in?
Big three.
Right.
It ain't just a big three. It's just big me.
Hold on. Walk with me now. Walk with me. Let's take a long walk around the park. Jill Scott.
Good song.
Great song. Bianca's streak is what at Mania?
It's all good. Undefeated.
She's undefeated. She's like what, 5-0, maybe 4-0, somewhere around there.
Undefeated.
4-0. I guess so.
4-0, 5-0, one of those. So, Randy, you said a couple of weeks ago that Bianca's still not clear, correct? You don't think she's still clear?
I don't think she's still clear from Jade.
No. You don't think, but I'm just saying in general, you don't think she's still cleared from allegations?
Not at all. Not in the slightest.
So what if, right, bearing that WrestleMania streak on the line now?
Vaughn said she's 4-0, by the way.
Okay.
4-0. Thank you, Vaughn.
Thank you, Vaughn. Bearing that WrestleMania streak on the line, title on the line, triple threat match. There's no rules in a triple threat.
Mm-hmm.
Jade comes out there and attacks Bianca. Costs her the match.
I would love to see Io retain.
And yeah, Io retains.
Because Jade interferes, costs Bianca, and Io pins Rhea again. If Io is the person that humbles Rhea multiple times, that would be interesting. I mean,
that's honestly.
That's the same wavelength that I've been on for the last 2 weeks.
Honestly, if you really want me to be honest with you, I love Bianca. I love Bianca Belair to death.
That's true.
I really do. But we're just talking about how things make sense, and I'd be a hypocrite to say that Bianca winning this title makes sense.
Hey, listen, you've been on point with you being, in terms of your Charlotte criticism today, and you making this, take on Bianca. Listen, you've been on your shit today since you're on your way back, brother.
I'm just saying, it wouldn't, because the thing is that we're just going to get Rhea all over again with Bianca at the head of that division.
Listen,
I don't think Io should lose. Like, Io losing should not be a possibility.
Io losing should not be on the table.
Io shouldn't lose, but Io should make a statement. And the statement should be, I'm going to pin Rhea again. So now I have beat you now for a third time in my career.
Controversy.
And you've never beat me. Yeah, now it's going to be with controversy. So now Rhea.
Now, when she won the belt, it was with controversy because of the situation with Bianca. It's more so like it's Rhea's out, right? Rhea can say, look, this happened, then this happened, and this happened. And Io's like, yeah, these things happened, but you keep losing. So you haven't learned anything yet. And then
Right, 'cause it
they,
looks
they could
like-
have the blow off match when they finally do get to face one-on-one with no
which would be at
shenanigans.
Backlash more than likely.
It's definitely gonna be backlash because it's
So,
like continue.
I mean, I would do that honestly, because I don't think Bianca winning this title serves no purpose. You're gonna get the same. You're gonna get the same thing with Rhea Ripley all over again. Rhea Ripley holding on to the title, consensus. Half the crowd will love it. They'll be all for it because Rhea is a star, and there's no denying that. But like Tyler said, you done ran through half the Raw division. It's pretty much who's left. Bianca, there's fresh matchups, but you're gonna get basically, SmackDown title run 2020 all over again, all because of who's over there.
Yeah.
Not to mention, Rhea can phase out of the championship picture now after being involved in it for about 2 years straight. I think that if you let Io be champion and be more of a fighting champion, there's a number of different possibilities in terms of people she could face with the call-ups and with the newer Raw division as well. Not to mention, Io still has her own storyline with damage control that can happen.
I was about to say, because it looked like Dakota Kai might turn on her.
That's what I'm saying.
As well as Io also has to deal with the fact of what happens when Asuka and Kyrie come back.
That's the next thing.
How do they factor into things? Because a lot of people like the idea of seeing Io face Asuka again, which that'll work.
Whoa. Hold on, brother. You got too much dip on your chip now.
No, I know. I'm just saying we will get to these in future episodes, but I'm just saying this can be on the line.
There's more to
post Mania, baby.
There's more to flesh out with Io being champion more versus Bianca or Rhea being champion.
No, for sure. To put a pin on this, I've been on that same wavelength E's been on for quite some time, because it's it serves no purpose if either Rhea or Bianca win, because if you want that to be a WrestleMania match down the line, sure, use this one to tease it, but in the current immediate, you can teach this, you can have them not win at Mania to teach them a lesson going forward. For Rhea, it's yo, bruh, I can't beat this person. I did all this and still I can't win. Io can use this as, finally, I'm no longer overlooked. I beat two of the top women in the company.
Again,
not named Charlotte. Again, that's not named Charlotte, and I can move forward with this.
She was here with the NXT title too, with what was it? I think it was Charlotte and
Bianca, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that triple threat match at In Your House.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. So it's Io.
Yes.
Io can have another notch under her belt in terms of how much that could boost her and her title run going at least into SummerSlam.
So
too far ahead.
Here's my thing before we get to the men's triple threat, and then we can end off. This ain't Magic School Bus. That's
what? Hey, it's a great show now.
Miss Frizzle though.
Miss Frizzle though.
So my whole thing with this whole triple threat. Anytime Bianca has gone into WrestleMania, it hasn't been a makeshift program for her. It's been programs that she's been in for more than most of the year. She's just kind of similar to John, which I'll talk about John and his heel run another time, because I'm another thing I'm very critical of. I don't like it right now.
Oh, we got a prediction show next week, brother.
But she's in this makeshift program where it doesn't really feel like she's focused on a championship. It doesn't feel like she's even focused on trying to win. So that's why I feel like there's something bigger behind that. And anybody who watches Bianca Belair matches or has seen her knows that she's better as a chaser. She's better as chasing after the title, having these matches, working her way to being the champion. And then when she does become the champion, you do have those months where the payoff is indeed worth the reward. This time around, I don't think the payoff is worth the reward if she gets that championship. I don't think that's a good move, right? Right now, I don't think that's a good move. Can you make it a good move come SummerSlam? Maybe, if the story serves for it. I think that's a good move. Can you see it being a move maybe going towards next year's Mania? Sure.
Well, we got to see because,
but definitely not this year.
Definitely no. This year, I humbly and honestly think, and I know the black community is going to be, oh, y'all don't like women and y'all don't like black women, blah blah blah. No, this is not.
They gotta stop with that bullshit.
We're not addressing that. We're not addressing that.
But you just.
I'm just saying.
Continue. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying they gotta stop with that bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not addressing.
Continue.
It's not who we hate and what we don't like. I'm all for Bianca Belair. I'm all for her. She's a first ballot Hall of Famer if she ends her career tomorrow. Yeah. She's done everything in this company there is to do. But this is not her year to win.
Thank you.
I think you build the story because the Jade thing is I'm still not all there in agreement with you, but the Jade thing is still open from what I've been watching on SmackDown.
They're gonna have a confrontation. Like it's not over between them, so we might as well just.
It's not over between them. Let's flesh that story out. Let's get that completely out the way. Her and Naomi is not over either because Naomi is still talking about her. So that's still not done.
Bianca clearly has some business she needs to handle on SmackDown.
Right.
So
it ain't over.
It ain't over. So, once that's done, then she can focus on going after the title. She can focus on becoming champion. Hell, I'll say it right now. April 6th, 5:34 p.m. I'm okay with Bianca being a Royal Rumble winner next year.
All right.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
If the story serves its purpose.
Fair. I'll give you that. Fair. But God, we need some new people.
I agree with you. We do need some new people. I would like, hell, if you really want me to be honest with you, I'd really like to see a TNA person win it next year.
That would be fun.
That's honestly my number one. My number one is because what I want somebody to do, at least whether it be male superstar, woman superstar in TNA, I want them to be on an expiring contract and them saying basically, well, we got a merger with WWE. I could just go over here.
I'll be honest with you.
Why don't I go win the Rumble and maybe you'll give me a contract?
You know what?
Maybe then you'll want to keep me.
No, I'm going to have to disagree on this one. Not because your idea is invalid. It's because I know who they would pick. They wouldn't pick it for the men. They'd pick it for the women.
Oh God!
Okay.
I know exactly who they pick.
Hell no!
If you want Tessa Blanchard main eventing a women's match at WrestleMania,
I'm sorry.
That's on you, brother. That's what you. That is what you just foreshadowed.
No.
You better take it back.
No Crimson Chin.
Do you see me apologize to you? I'm sorry.
Take it back. Yeah. Because if you put that in the ether, then the black community will really hate you.
Let's put Bianca at number one. I'm sorry. I just thought about it.
We do it.
Yeah.
No. All right, so triple threat main event time, man. In terms of CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins.
A story that makes sense. A story that is probably
12
now.
years
Hold on, E. There is a lot more sense to be made out of this triple threat, but there's still an argument to be made.
Okay.
An argument of whether this match could have been a different match. I'll be honest with you. This is the first time that Roman Reigns is only going to main event night one. We said for a while, Roman Reigns doesn't main event night one without night two. He's a night two guy, but because of the Cena and Cody thing, of course, he's been moved over to the other main event, his 10th one, mind you. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins will be having their triple threat. But an argument could be made, had there been proper planning, this should have been the match we should have got last year with Seth and Punk.
I'll take it a step further. Well, that's nobody's fault. Punk just got hurt.
Oh no, of course, but I'm just saying we still could have had it this year, but it was the company's fault for going. We're going to put it on Netflix
True.
and on Raw again.
So or no, we don't. Or this could have been the number one contendership match. Because
it could have.
Because let's look at it this way, right? We know the obvious layers between all three men. We know the obvious layers, and they've been talking about it. And then another layer was added with the favor being revealed as Paul Heyman, pretty much CM Punk being petty and saying Paul Heyman's going to be in his corner, which is the inevitable Paul Heyman turn that we're all going to see at Mania.
It might be a double turn. I ain't gonna hold you.
He's gonna turn and join Seth. He's gonna turn on both of them and join
that's what
Seth.
I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling, bro.
Like that's what I feel right now, based on what I'm seeing. Because Punk has he sprinkled it in over his return. Like, hey, I miss Paul. Every time he sees Paul, gives Paul a hug. So they've had plenty of material to pull from. I'm not going to say it all built to this, but it all works in the direction of this.
We can touch on that when we do the predictions, especially next week.
I commented on somebody's video. I don't know if it was Facebook or TikTok, and he said that, and I said maybe, but
there's some legs to that though.
But there is some legs to it. I'm not going to completely just say no and dispute it, but I'm still on the side of Seth as a double agent.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I'm still on that side.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, we know the obvious layers when it comes down to all three men in this triple threat match. I agree with you, Tyler. It should have been Seth and CM Punk shouldn't have been on. Well, it's not free anymore, but shouldn't have been on Netflix. And I feel like it should have been.
That's a crazy statement.
It is. It should have been a triple threat match for a number one contendership.
Much love to you,
because everybody has one thing in common that they want, which is a championship.
Yep.
Seth is always somebody who's chasing a championship. Roman wants his championship back from the person he lost to, which is Cody. CM Punk was robbed not once but twice of a championship opportunity. So now you got all three of these guys, one common goal. Why wouldn't you not make it a number one contendership?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it should have been that, because outside of the story, what are the real implications to this match? Who gets Paul Heyman? Because that's basically what it is.
They're treating it like a grudge. I mean, this is a grudge match between all three, because Seth. These are the two people Seth hates the most in the world. Roman and Punk are the ones really pushing the meat of this storyline. Mm-hmm. But it really, if you really put it under a microscope, it really is more about Seth. Because for Seth, even though Punk getting his main event is the main thing, Seth, Punk getting his main event is the main thing for him. Roman, it's like, I just want my revenge on Seth for what he did and Punk for what he did. For Seth, it's like, I've hated you two for over a decade. I've hated you two at the same time for over a decade, right? Like you guys, like a lot of people don't know, Punk was a partial trainer to Seth in ROH.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Punk has the history with there's so much history here that there's stuff they haven't even pulled from, like the fact that people forget that Punk introduced the Shield on main roster TV.
They've mentioned that.
They've touched on it,
but they haven't dove into it. So no. Like it's like there's a lot. There's mountains of stuff here.
There's one thing they didn't touch on. They didn't touch on over 10 years ago. CM Punk and Paul Heyman had an interaction. I think this was during the Ryback program, like right before Heyman turned on Punk, and he was like, as your best friend, I see you. He was like, in another 10 years or a little more, I'm walking down with you down that aisle in the main event of WrestleMania, which ties into CM Punk saying, "I want Heyman to be in my corner." So there's a video of that, because it was like CM Punk, he was doing like the weird mutton chops with
I remember that.
So it was like, so it was a callback to that. They haven't mentioned that, but
it's it's actually interesting you bring up the favor, because am I the only one that feels like this is a waste of a favor?
Yes.
It is. I agree. It's a waste of a favor because of the fact that you could have just, used that in the match or whatever, or there have you.
So, you know what I thought it was going to be?
What was it going to be?
I thought it was going to be. I thought we weren't going to get it right now. I thought it was going to be. I have to wait a little while longer.
Yeah,
and I thought CM Punk was going to get a legitimate shot at Cody Rhodes, or if it wasn't Cody, got a legitimate shot at John.
It makes sense because I'll put it to you this way. It feels like a waste to me only because like we were thinking of something bigger, but the more you think about it, considering Punk did not make himself Rock's friend recently with the promo, considering Punk's comments on Rock and Cena and Heyman's supposed power in the company, what could Heyman really have pulled out of his ass? Well, like in reality, unless he convinced Roman to convince Rock.
No. So this is what I was going to say. So a legitimate shot, whether it be at SummerSlam or whatever, a legitimate shot at the title. Punk's losing, or he looks like he's not going to win. Roman comes out, whoever it is, spears or Superman punches whoever the champion is. And you see Heyman come out there and all of that. And CM Punk, GTS 1, 2, 3 celebrates. He walks over to Heyman, shakes his hand, and says, "Thank you, my friend." Because they've been turning the audio up, so it's more so along the lines of it comes back full circle. I hired you as a heavy. Now Roman Reigns does my bidding. Like, that sort of thing. That's what I thought we were going to get.
That would have been interesting.
That would have.
Where Roman had absolutely, even though he doesn't want to do it, and we don't hear from Roman. People try to ask Roman what's going on and why did he do what he did. He just gives his little Roman scowl and doesn't say anything, and makes his face jump. Like he's disgusted. Because he is disgusted. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to help CM Punk win a championship that he should be competing for. You know what I'm saying? But full circle. You helped me maintain a championship that I held for 434 days.
That is true.
Now I own you again.
It's rough.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's kind of like what I wanted to see. And with Paul Heyman really pulling the strings behind the scenes, and then you can turn Punk heel and Heyman kind of torn between the two, because it's like, I'm happy to see that, a longtime friend of mine is where he's supposed to be and thriving and having all these things. And it's like the glory days. It's like the whole, 434 days. And a heel CM Punk, he'll be like, hell, I held this title for 434 days. You don't think I can hold it as long as Roman Reigns did with Roman Reigns doing my bidding? I can hold it longer. But have Heyman torn between the two. Have Heyman torn between, I'm upsetting Roman, but at the same time, I'm making my best friend happy. My tribal chief is disgusted, but my best friend is over the moon. Who do I side with?
Conflict of interest.
Exactly.
Conflict of interest. I mean, this is something.
That's something that they didn't. That's something that they didn't do, and as of right now, I agree with Tyler. It's a waste of a whole favor. because they made us wait from November all the way up to April for this now. And the only thing is that you're going to be in my corner for one match, possibly for a potential turn. I mean,
I think if they went the extra mile and they said you can no longer be Roman's wise man, you have to be my manager going forward. I think that could have been interesting, but it wouldn't explain why Paul has been with Roman all these months since. Like, had it been a number one contenders match, it would have been like, yeah, I could see Paul Heyman being able to pull that, but like, you couldn't have earned that on your own type of thing. In a way, I feel like the favor was kind of like, I feel like the concept itself is going to work for the triple threat. It will work. But in general, conceptually, it's like,
chill.
Jesus. Conceptually speaking, like, I don't know if it made sense to begin with if this was the direction they were going with after a certain point, because at the end of the day, it's like, why not just have it be a situation where Paul Heyman is not allowed to be at ringside, or he's told not to come out at ringside by Roman because Roman wants to do it on his own? And then you have Paul make the save at the end of the triple threat where it looks like he's going to help Roman, or he's conflicted between Roman and Punk, and then he ultimately chooses Seth. You know what I mean? Like, you could have did it.
That works. Even better.
And that's a perfect way to pull a pin in this, because we do have predictions to make next week on these WrestleMania matches, for the most part.
If the card is fleshed out.
Yeah, if the card is fleshed out, because with KO out quickly, I just want a name, not in terms of whatever, a name. Who do you think should face Randy Orton at WrestleMania 41? Because
Morgan
KO.
Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
In a read the summary match.
In a voiceover match, yes.
So who would be a suitable candidate to replace Kevin Owens to face Randy Orton at WrestleMania? Like, anybody got a quick name before we close out the show?
No one.
I have two names in mind, but one Todd's gonna say I'm promoting violence.
I know exactly what I want Randy Orton to do at WrestleMania.
What do you want Randy Orton to do at WrestleMania time?
Go ahead, Todd. Go first.
Cost Cody the championship.
My nigga.
That's okay. So that's not a bad idea. If they didn't do this already, if they didn't already promote Randy and Cena in St. Louis for Backlash, because I feel like they're on a collision course for the title.
All right, so Eve, who do you think Randy Orton should face? But
they can still hold on, but they can still play up to that. So,
but who you got?
Okay, so I got three ideas in mind. Idea number one, real quick, right off the bat, since it's just multi-man matches, put Randy Orton in the match with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, making a number one contendership match for whoever wins the WWE Championship.
Okay, see, now you okay. Now I'm intrigued. Number one contendership match.
That's how you get Orton and Cena right there.
Okay, right. That's how you get Orton and Cena. Okay,
you could do that, and that goes hand in hand with Tyler's idea. You could just run in there and cost Cody the championship.
I like that.
If he wins. So there's that. Number two, promoting.
It's not the Marvel 16.
No. Well, yeah, that's basically what we would get.
Hey,
No, Vaughn, listen to me. I know Eric's saying that the St. Louis thing kind of throws that into a tailspin, but hear me out here. Okay, folks?
No, I can still work.
Here, listen. Think of it this way. Orton cost Cody the championship. Hug Cena. They have like a WrestleMania 20 type of ending where Rock, Cena, and Orton are celebrating with the championship, right? And then they book Randy Orton versus Cena for St. Louis. But because Randy is being booed as a heel, it's the first time in some time we've seen a heel versus heel championship match. Now, the reason why I say this is because Cena and Orton were treated like nothing bad happened, like they did the right thing. And they go into the ring, they both get booed in their entrances. They get booed at the beginning of the match. They shake hands at the beginning of the match. They try to have a good old-fashioned wrestling match where, like, you know, they're being respectful to each other, but the crowd hates it. You have them chanting, "They both suck." Both these guys. Kill yourself. Maybe not that last one. But, you know, like, essentially the crowd is hating it. And the whole point of the match is to build to Cody coming out and ruining the main event and fighting against the two of them. I think that could work. I know it would be weird because people don't usually see heel versus heel, but that would be a productive way to do it, where it's like the crowd can't stand that this main event is happening, and it builds to a Cody getting a Steve Austin level pop and wrecking both guys in the main event.
Or I got something else in mind, but I don't know if I want to save that. That has something different. Anyway, the other one would be Obafemi. That's violence. That's violence.
But he didn't ruin the physical match, though.
My brother in Christ.
He didn't ruin the physical match, though. And Obafemi, what the fuck? He just came back from back surgery and neck surgery, allegedly.
I know.
Like, bro, is this what we doing? I ain't go for it. I would love it if Nick Aldis was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna get into the ring with Randy."
No, because Nick Aldis ducking that smoke from my boy Scrap Daddy. We ain't gonna talk. Listen, we're not getting into that. He ducking that smoke.
He ducking that smoke.
The third thing that I have in mind would be.
Hi, what's going on, Smile? How you doing?
The third thing would be Randy. I don't know about KO. I would have said Sami Zayn, but Sammy's gonna turn on Jay.
I'm glad you see it. I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it. But
Sammy's gonna turn on Jay.
I'm glad you said it, because you know there's you know,
Pierce is not ducking the smoke from all this.
We doing good. We about to wrap up the show, but
I don't know. I think the most sensible thing is to make.
No man is ever truly good.
No
man is ever truly evil.
I think you'd really do that triple threat match. I think since we're in the spirit of multi-man matches at this Mania, but let this one have some implications to it. Make it a WWE.
Pierce is ducking.
No, that's solid.
Even Pierce is ducking the smoke from all this.
No, I read that completely wrong. I took out the L and switched the I. I completely read that wrong.
Hell no.
Hell no. No.
Who are you? Why is your name Numbers? How dare you?
Nobody want to see that shit.
We have respect.
Keep Goldberg in Atlanta. Don't nobody want to see that bullshit.
William Oldberg can stay in Atlanta, Georgia. Where
that isn't. No, that's not the match you do. You do Goldberg versus Braun Breaker later in the year, and then he retires. That's what you do. You don't.
Or he retires him.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Permanently. All right, man. Not bad.
Make it happen. All this. Give us Damian, because Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. I'm not saying there's not a story there. You know, they've been having beef since Elimination Chamber.
They've had some beef. No. They've had some beef over a year, bro. He took his title.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like
say over a year.
No. They told that story well, man. They told that story.
No, they did. And I hate for them to lose a one-on-one match, but
it's a logical choice.
I hate for it
Spirit
to be.
jacket.
Don't even read that. I hate for it to be to be taken away from them like that.
Yes.
But make it a triple threat match. Make it the three
How you
of
change
them.
your photo in
Yeah,
12 seconds.
Yeah, let's look at a photo, man.
WWE Championship implications, and then we go into Tyler's thing where Randy costs Cody
the title.
The title.
Yeah, either way, Cody's not leaving Mania.
Wait, real quick before we go. Real quick. You notice how everybody that celebrated in the ring for Cody's championship match
has turned on him?
Yes.
See?
I think that's a coincidence.
We hear.
Does that mean The Undertaker's coming back?
No.
No. Taker wasn't in the ring when they celebrated. I'm talking about like the initial celebration. It was Randy, Seth, Jay,
I needed to change it.
Cena.
Well, a lot of them are turning in general within a year, so I guess that makes sense.
Cena turned on Cody.
Cena turned on Cody.
Randy could possibly be next.
KO already turned.
I want
KO
Cena to
turned.
bring back the chain and try to hit Cody with it or the title. Randy comes out and stops him, and then he just leans backward and RKO's Cody.
Or RKO both of them. I mean, shit. You're Randy Orton. You don't need a reason to RKO someone.
You really don't.
It's just his Mania match was almost taken from him. And then he goes from almost having his career taken from him. Mania's being taken from him. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna start taking. Matter of fact, wait a minute. The only reason why I got hurt with Kevin Owens is because of you, Cody. As a matter of fact, wait, what the fuck? Bring it back to my old idea. No, actually, no. Yeah, RKO that son of a bitch. Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn it.
John Cena deserved one too.
Somewhere
but here's the thing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But Orton agrees with Cena, so he's like, "You're my friend for now, but I'm gonna get you later." And Cena knows that, so it's just more so it's like when you have gang warfare, where it's like there's two guys that are in the wrong and they work together when it works conveniently for them, and then eventually they'll go back to the pew pew. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to get that. You not hold up. We'll save it for next week. We're doing too much. We got to get out of here.
We're doing too much.
Because I was about to say Jey Uso's gonna turn too. But
I don't care about that. He need to turn over. Listen, let Gunther win the match.
There's a lot that could be fleshed out post Mania, but we definitely closing out the show. Obviously, it's a prelude to next week's show. We'll be doing WrestleMania predictions. Obviously, we kind of hinted it for some of our predictions as it pertains to certain triple threat matches.
That man got a great colleague. Jimmy Uso done killed him, squeezed the life out of him. He was bleeding.
Jimmy Uso was gonna get a U.S. title shot. They said, "Nah."
He got a hearse. He didn't get no fucking title. You gotta admit, shut up. Gunther was shut up. Why? Because he didn't face your Goldberg. But shut up.
Relax.
No, I'm tired of what everybody want to fight today. Everyone's like, yeah, that's a bad idea. This is everybody, you cocks. I don't want to hear this. I want to hear. No, I'm playing.
This is one of those rare episodes. Me and Tyler have been on the same page of thinking.
I'm not happy, but like I said, mafia warfare till the pew pew. We'll fight next week.
All right, man. Next week we have a prediction show. We do some fantasy booking around next week's predictions as well as post WrestleMania as well. We'll be doing a live stream for night 1 of WrestleMania. So please come through. I think Saturday will be the 19th. So come through, guys, as we go live Saturday. Ty's gonna be at the crib while we be on camera.
Wings.
You making wings?
I'm making wings. Yeah.
It sucks that you're
Wang Yanks.
It sucks that you're in Carolina though. Because we would definitely be having it.
I'd rather be with the guys. But.
Yeah, this would I would have had the blue cheese and ranch set up if he was making, bro.
Okay, let's get to where you guys were all here. Let's get to the
match of the week.
What kind of politics is this?
I don't know. I'm invoking the favorite functioning vote.
Oh, he said you need to make some government. Relax.
First off, do you not see that man, the shape that man has got in?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm okay with Gunther having knee pads. I don't think he should lose after literally murdering someone. I think that
yeah, that made him look really strong.
I mean, yeah, Jay winning would be like this epic moment, yeet, fiend and all that. But like, dude, that is the first time I've seen a bloodline member die, and it wasn't to another bloodline member.
That's dead ass.
Like, come on, man. Like,
all right, do you have a match of the week, brother?
Let's get to it. So, we're gonna stay on theme today with the whole WrestleMania. Let's take from WrestleMania 17, and let's go Triple H and Undertaker.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is it because Mike put it in the chat because he was talking about that storyline?
Mike was talking about the build up to it. Yeah. Shout out to my man Mike.
Yeah. Oh my
Imagine
God.
if your brother.
Sounds like Tony Khan. Is this Matt?
No, it's not Matt. It's not Matt. Somebody else. It's definitely somebody else.
Okay, I was gonna say, listen, man. I think that I personally think that as right as you are, I want you to be wrong. I want to do the opposite. I think we, hey, hello, let's flip a coin. Let's live on the edge. The vibes, right? The vibes, guys, for the vibes. Just
Anyway, y'all, man. I released an article via the Sports Hit List this past week, man. The road to WrestleMania and AEW trending upwards. I'm back into my writing bag. Shout out to Carl and the Sports Hit List squad for releasing the article where basically, I catch everybody up in terms of, wrestling and, certain things. Obviously, I talked about in terms of, just catching up in terms of what I've been up to over the last few months. This is my last article. And also discuss in terms of what WWE should do. Basically, much of what this episode is all about in terms of, giving the essence and performance that WrestleMania, the road to WrestleMania, rightfully deserves. So please check that out via the Sports Hit List on WordPress. And please follow the Sports Hit List on all social platforms. And once again, shout out to Carl for everything that he's doing currently right now. He was on News 12 this past week. In terms of his projects with other filmmakers out in Suffolk County, man, he's doing a great job in terms of telling the game of sports and life as well. So please shout out to him and the whole Sports Hit List team as they continue to innovate and create and do more things outside of what we're doing. And before we head on out of here, man, I just want to issue a condolences in the wrestling community. We definitely lost someone yesterday. And Nikki Bushi, who she passed away yesterday. I think I've encountered her like just a handful of times when she came up here.
When I saw her picture, she definitely did look familiar.
Yeah, so like we encountered her a couple of times when she came up here. Obviously, Jobber Tier is usually a big hub that gets a lot of people from different places where we network and meet, other members in our community. Just want to issue our condolences to the members of her family. And to those who knew her, closely, in this wrestling space. She also was a writer. She got a chance to answer a couple questions at a WWE presser back in 2023. May she rest in peace.
Absolutely.
And again, send our condolences to the family and friends that knew Nikki the best. So, as big as the wrestling community is, man, it's very small to those who really know each other. So, to those that know her well, we issue. We send out love, we send out light, and in this passing time, send healing vibes to you guys. So much love to everybody in this wrestling space.
Is there anything that we need to promote or anything you guys want to promote?
I want to address something.
Go ahead.
Because you put your hand up when you looked at the screen, and I know why. Because you see my name.
Yeah, I was like, what's the
what you call it? It's a reference. I'm surprised no one got this reference. Did nobody watch like Black YouTube during the 2010s?
That's what I'm saying. The vibes, man. Black YouTube. Yes.
Y'all don't remember? Y'all remember Dormtainment Tropical Storm?
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Roscoe Grapes.
Yeah. Buster McThunderstick.
You remember?
Y'all remember hit classics like My Dick Touched the Water, and rappers be hurt.
Okay.
And Elephant Dick. I don't know why so many of their songs sexual.
So I see your name, and I'll raise you one next week, and I might get a good laugh on it.
All right.
Huh?
Because you got depression?
No. I'm not doing Zach Fox. I got one for you. Since you want to talk YouTubers, I got one for you.
All right. Oh, this is a new storyline. I like where this is going.
I like where this is going, man. The energy is dope. The vibes are immaculate here on the BrawlCast on behalf of the Backstage Brawl. Shout out to everybody that came in the chat today. Shout out to Vaughn. Shout out to MD. Shout out to MD. Shout out to even this Michelle Cox who made that comment earlier. Shout out to everybody that that shared, liked, subscribed, and been part of the show today. As we're getting closer to WrestleMania. We're 2 weeks away. Next week we're doing predictions. We're doing fantasy booking. We got the crew back. Hopefully we get Matt back on some BK bullshit. And shout out to Dog Days of Baseball. They're about to get into the booth.
In less than an hour, we're about to go live.
In less than an hour, they're about to go live, do their thing, and hopefully me and Drake can team up and get ready for the playoffs as we're about to run the break for the Run the Break podcast. For myself here at the Backstage Brawl, I'm Shop Biz Ronnie, aka the People's Champion, joined by Busta McThunderstick, aka Soft Force, aka Dynamite. Naomi
It touched the water.
Naomi isn't wrong, even though you spelled the name wrong.
No, Ami.
Chris.
No, Ami.
Chris, aka Vicky, aka the Diamond Cutter. This has been episode 173 of the BrawlCast. We'll see you guys next week. WrestleMania prediction show. We'll start clipping, start editing, and get you some of these clips out as soon as possible. Peace and love, everybody, and love y'all, man. Have a nice, beautiful rest of the weekend. And let's grind through the week, man. Peace and love. We out.
It touched the water.